If you're a snow lover in the Northeast, then you are probably pretty darn happy with Winter Storm Odell because it over-delivered for this region. Here I'm showing the total accumulated snowfall as of Friday morning associated with Winter Storm Odell. And I'm showing the GFS because the GFS actually killed it with this storm. The Euro saw the lake effect as well. Both models saw the lake effect coming, but the GFS had this bullseye in western Maine where 1.5 feet to maybe 2 feet of snow was possible, and that ended up happening. So looking at the total accumulated snowfall, we see western New York, foot of snow. Northern New York, even more than a foot of snow, 20 inches in some places, and that's due to that lake effect that's coming off of Lake Ontario right here, and that's actually going to continue throughout today and into Saturday. So that's what we're going to be looking at in this video. Like I said, huge accumulations in western Maine and even northern New Hampshire as well. And the great thing about Odell, it's not even done yet. The winds associated with the backside of Odell are still bringing lake effect to the area. So let's take a look at that. You see, this is showing Friday morning for the Northeast, and those snowfall rates are still coming into northern New York, especially to the east of Lake Ontario. You see a little dash of snow associated with Lake Erie down here, and that's actually going to start picking up as we move through the forecast period. The area to watch though is right here, right to the east of Lake Ontario. Northern New York, you've already had a foot plus maybe 1.5 feet, maybe up to 2 feet in some places, and it's just going to continue. So moving into Friday at about 7 a.m., you see that heavy band of snowfall is able to stretch all the way from northwestern New York all the way up into New Hampshire. It's pretty awesome to see, and the heaviest snowfall rates are right to the east of that lake. That's where that cold, dry air is moving over the lake, getting a bunch of warm, moist air, rising up, and then dropping snow right on Watertown. I think Watertown had blizzard conditions, 20 plus inches of snow right now, and it's not stopping anytime soon. As we move into Friday at about 1 p.m., that's going to be this afternoon, you see the rates look less intense, but it spreads out a little bit. It basically moves to all of northern New York, and New Hampshire, you're not getting as much at this point, and the western portions of New York and northwestern Pennsylvania kind of dies down for you guys at this point. Just wait though, because by Friday at 7 p.m., we really start to see that lake effect kick in for western New York and northwestern Pennsylvania. Here is showing Lake Erie right here, and you can see basically the entire eastern portion of the lake is getting the strong band of snowfall. This is literally just a perfect example of what a lake effect storm does. You see lake, snowfall, and it's exactly associated with the winds going over the lake. And we'll take a look at that in a second. Let's see how long this goes through. Saturday at 1 in the morning, those high snowfall rates start to move a little farther south, the ones associated with Ontario. And you see Lake Erie really starts kicking up at this point. And northwestern Pennsylvania, by Saturday at 7 a.m., you're still getting some great rates down here. And that continues basically until Saturday at 7 p.m. So we're going to look at the accumulations that you're still going to get with Odell as it's moved off into Canada. You're still going to be seeing some of the effects of it. And it has to do with the winds here. Here you see this low, it's moved off, it's no longer directly above the United States, but it's still affecting the United States. Because think about the circulation around a low, it's counterclockwise. So even though the low is up here, you get these winds bringing down this cold air on the backside of the low. And as it turns out, these winds are very strong. Let's go out one tick here so you can really see what these winds are doing and how they're bringing the snow into New York and northwestern Pennsylvania. This is showing Friday morning at 7 a.m. and you can really see those winds kicking up and delivering just cold air right to that region that we saw was getting the highest snowfall rates for northwestern New York. You see, wow, that's going to be a hard word to pronounce, Oswegatchie. You guys are at 19 degrees right now, so that's what's allowing this precipitation to fall as snow. It's cold. Basically throughout the entire Northeast, it's going to be below freezing throughout Saturday. So you see these high winds kicking in, and remember at the beginning of this forecast period, Friday morning to Friday afternoon, we weren't seeing that much snow associated with Lake Erie, but we're going to see these winds down here really start to kick up as we click in through Saturday. You see, moving into Friday, 4 p.m., these winds still streaming in, especially on Lake Ontario, just, again, bringing in that cold Arctic air down from Canada, and then as it moves over the lake, it warms up and accumulates moisture. Once that moves into New York, that's going to rise up, and then that precipitation falls as snow. The other thing about this is there's a foot, maybe 2 feet of snow on the ground, and these wind gusts, these are in the 30 mile per hour, 40 mile per hour range. So all that snow on the ground is getting kicked up. It's causing blizzard conditions, especially in Watertown, where visibility at times is down to maybe 50 feet. So as we move through into Saturday, let's take a look at what starts happening down by Lake Erie. You see those strong winds kind of ease up on Lake Ontario, and then they really start kicking in on Lake Erie. This is Saturday at 7 a.m. And remember, this is the time when we saw that huge band of snowfall, basically on the entire eastern portion of the lake. Well, it's all because of these winds. And this is showing the 24-hour accumulated snowfall by Saturday at 1 a.m. You see northwestern New York, you guys are still getting 5 to 8, maybe a foot of snow still associated with Winter Storm Odell. So even though it's gone, you guys are still getting some of the snow. And then on the western portions of New York and northwestern Pennsylvania, as of 1 a.m. Saturday, you guys are getting maybe 2 to 3 inches, but then that really starts to build in as you move through Saturday. You see it eases up in the north, starts kicking in the south. And that's going to continue basically through Saturday night and into Sunday. Western portions of New York, northwestern Pennsylvania, you guys could be getting 5 more inches of snow associated with Odell. It's pretty awesome. Even though it's gone, it's still affecting the Northeast. It is also affecting the Midwest. So again, here's Odell up here. It's moved off, it's gone. But these winds that are associated with this low are still being pulled down into the Midwest, and especially over Lake Michigan. You see, these are some rates that really can compete with the rates that we saw over Lake Ontario. This is bringing some really cold air right over Lake Michigan. And the key thing here is the lakes aren't frozen. If they were frozen, then the air as it moves over it wouldn't be able to pick up as much moisture. Because they're not frozen, the air as it moves over can really pick up that moisture, bring it up, rise it up, drop it down as snow. So the Midwest, you guys are still getting some snow associated with Odell as well, and especially in northern parts of Michigan. Take a look right here. That is 100% due to these winds that are going right over Lake Michigan. And that's going to continue throughout Friday morning, throughout Friday afternoon, and into Friday night. It's finally gone by about 1 in the morning on Saturday. You guys aren't going to be getting more of this lake effect snow, but you got enough. You got enough. You guys are still going to get maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 inches associated with this one. And it'd be interesting to see if this band right here, which is in maybe 6-inch range, if that can move just a little farther south, then Michigan could still be seeing some great accumulations with this one. The other big story I want to talk about is this storm that's moving into the northwest. Now, before all you East Coasters click away, what happens on the West Coast eventually ends up affecting the East Coast. So it's important to pay attention to what's the weather as it moves into the country. Right now, you see there's a big high over the plains, basically no precipitation for almost the entire country as this lake effect eases down on Saturday. But there's a big storm brewing on the northwest associated with winds bringing in a lot of Pacific moisture and this low that we see has moved into Canada. Now what that's going to do is going to start by bringing snow to Washington and Oregon, then it's going to move its way into Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, and then that low moves down into Texas. It hangs out for a day or two in Monday and Tuesday, and then this is really where it starts picking up some strength. Remember, when the low's down here, it's being able to bring in some of that warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico, and then this is going to bring heavy, heavy thunderstorms to basically the entire southeast as the more northern part of this low goes up and hits the northeast. I think I said thunderstorms to the northeast. I'm going to say thunderstorms to the southeast, while as it's going to bring a snowstorm to the northeast. So here's showing the 24-hour accumulated snowfall for the northwest. Right now, not a lot going on. But as we move through this weekend, you see 5 to 8, maybe a foot of snow in the Cascades, and then that starts to build into Idaho, and then you start seeing it move into Nevada, Utah, Wyoming, and it's pretty cool to look at. Backing up here, you see it go from the very tip of the northwest, moving through before it goes into Texas, and then eventually up into the northeast. So I'm going to keep you guys updated on this one. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Northeast, you probably have another snowstorm in the cards towards maybe Thursday, Friday next week. If you want to stay updated with that, then subscribe to my channel or check out my forecast playlist. And if you learned something in this video and you want to see more daily forecasts, I do these every single day. So subscribe to Holt Hanley Weather, and thanks for watching.